"2020 is a year that has seemed to drag on for eternity, but as the holidays grow close, it's time to give thanks and to be generous, and that's exactly what we're here to do today as we watch 6 of Twitch's most popular streamers and their selected teams turn some virtual laps and raise some very real money for the charities of their choice. Welcome everyone to GSRC's special presentation of the weRacing for Charity event brought to you by the snail racing community. My name is DJ Clark. Alongside me here in the booth is Joey Tebben. Our director is Sean Ambrose, and he'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Today's event is not your normal day of iRacing. Multiple races, multiple disciplines, and a surprise that even in the booth we don't know what it is yet. But it's guaranteed to be non-stop action on the track. But the most important thing today isn't the racing. It's the teams, the drivers, and the charities our sim racers will be raising money for. So to start to run you through them is my co-commentator, Joey Tebben.
Sit back and relax, because we got a long list of fantastic charities and a lot of international representation in terms of the drivers. Our first team is, of course, from our host for today, Annie Rabbets. The team includes Andrew Hopley from good old Yorkshire, England, Pete Morbitan in exotic Minnesota, Kevin Wilkie in Belgium, Chris Knox from Scotland, and Ross Vorey from Mysteryland. He's the international man of mystery. And their team will be supporting Crisis UK, the national UK charity for homeless people. Their website says, "We help people directly out of homelessness and campaign for the changes needed to solve it all together. We know that together we can end homelessness." Pretty good thing to support, if you ask me. And then we go to number 2, Dan Suzuki of Germany. I believe he will be joined by some guy you may have heard of named Tony Kanaan. Then also Rebecca Pauline of Germany, Jessica Myers, and Shane Daggett of the United States of America. They will be supporting Tierheim Hochtaunus, an animal shelter and boarding facility in Germany. Then we have a team with Ben Evans, who will be supporting Samaritans, another charity dedicated to the vision that fewer die by suicide. Every year, Samaritans volunteers spend over 1 million hours answering calls for help via their 24-hour listening service, email, letter, face-to-face, and through their Welsh language service as well. Then, you want to take the next ones, DJ?
Sure, I most certainly can, Joey. Our fourth team is going to be led by Quikitized, which is Tyson Meyer, and his team is going to be racing for a charity chosen by his Twitch community on the day of, so be sure to jump in and help to give suggestions on that. Then we have Team Quick Gabi, led by Gabriela Jakova. And her charity is to be confirmed, but we're going to get details here on that shortly. And then finally, we have Team LoveFortySix, led by Luboyev Osterakovsa of Kazakhstan. Also on that team is going to be Magnus Danielson of Sweden, Mikhail Akmaka of the Netherlands, Drew Bickel of Pennsylvania, and Sergio Gardel of Spain. Now, they are going to be raising money and distributing their charitable donations to all of the charities that the other drivers are going to be racing for here today. So, what are they racing for? Well, we've got a couple of races on the docket. As you can see, we are here in the middle of one. So, Joey, why don't you take us away and tell us what we're going to be watching?
Well, we're here at a very unique track on iRacing in that it doesn't actually exist in real life. This is the USA International Speedway dirt layout, a 0.75 mile oval, or 1.21 kilometers if you're from the Europes. Then the turns are 14 degrees of banked, packed dirt, and we will be racing one of my personal favorite cars, the Dirt Street Stock.
Yeah, the street stocks are always fun around here. This is where I originally kind of started to turn a little bit of my my first stuff. But in terms of race formats, what is this thing going to look like today, Joey?
Well, as a whole today, we've got this race at USA, we've got a GT3 sprint race at Phillip Island, and then later today, we have the surprise race at the VIR Grand West layout, very difficult layout. But this event specifically, event 1 of this trilogy, so to speak, we've got 30 entries here. There's going to be a 30-minute practice, which is going on right now and should be finishing up momentarily. There's going to be a 5-minute, 3-lap lone qualifying. Or it may be a race. I believe they've changed the format in the time since this event has begun, but the top 5 from qualifying will go directly to the feature race. Then there will be 2 10-lap heats, in which the top 5 from each will advance to the feature, which will give us 15 drivers in the feature, and they'll battle for 25 laps with unlimited fast repairs to see who will reign supreme.
Thank you for that rundown, and as you see here, we watch as Niels Testard works his way around the track. Kevin Wilkie currently sitting on the top of the charts with a 27.168, followed by him, Rebecca Pauline, Chris Knox, Roger Hooker, and Jeffrey Decker rounding out your top 5. Everybody just trying to get their legs under them as we start to get ready to dive into this qualifying session with just under 2 minutes to go in practice.
Yeah, it never hurts to get your qualifying laps done early so you can get as many as possible. The dirt street stock isn't the most difficult car to drive, to be honest, but it still helps to get used to it, because if some of these drivers are more used to road course racing or even asphalt oval racing, this is completely different, and it's really hard to transfer some of those skills to dirt racing.
It very much is. I was informed the other day that driving on dirt track is a lot like driving in the rain on a sports car, that you constantly have to be judging and assessing the track and trying to figure out what's best, what's the fastest line. So a lot of those skills do carry over. As we see them working their way around here, just over a minute to go, those top 5 have not changed from their positions. And just a quick note, if you are interested in being able to donate to any of those charities that we mentioned, we will be putting up the links in our stream chat here, so make sure to jump onto that. Give to some really, really great causes that are near and dear to our drivers' hearts.
Indeed, lots of good charities tonight, so if you can spare some change, I'm sure they'd be happy to get some help from you.
The links are actually, we were being told, in the YouTube description itself. So if you go down to the bottom of this live stream, if you're on YouTube, look at that pane where it says show more. You will see all of those links there to be able to donate, and the best way to do that, as well as checking things out as we watch here. Guys working their way around the track, about 13 minutes left to go in or 13 seconds, not 13 minutes, left to go in qualifying. This is going to be a fun one. Lakeland here at the fake USA Speedway. Like you said, Joey, it's a fake track specifically designed for iRacing, but always seems to throw up a good race or two.
Yep, those long straights and tight corners, they somehow provide for good racing, both on the dirt and the asphalt version. The asphalt version did exist about 20 years ago. It's now been demolished, but whoever designed this track, they did a very good job, and it's a shame that it doesn't actually exist in real life anymore.
Yeah, it's very much turning into one of iRacing's most proud things of keeping course of legacy tracks. As we are ready to get going into qualifying here, we are getting a quick update on the format. It is going to be single car, lone car qualifying. So you'll see everybody out on track as individual cars. The top 5 of that will automatically advance to the feature race, and then we will go into heat racing based off of everybody in the bottom 25. So that's how that's going to play out here today.
So right now, I was going to say we're in a holding pattern, waiting to see who's going to bite first, but we're not going to be waiting for very long because Rebecca Pauline appears to be the first car out on track.
And there she is working her way down. You really got to be careful in these cars to get that entry and exit exactly right. Joey, you hit the nail on the head. Long straightaways here. Corner exit is absolutely crucial.
And we'll see as she comes through turns 1 and 2. That first lap was a 27.721. At the moment, it's good enough for pole, with about 8 or 9 drivers setting their first laps already, but the times are a-tumbling, because now Roger Hooker has taken it away by almost a tenth and a half.
That's a good lap there from Hooker, as that's Nick Von Roberts jumping up to P2, bumping Rebecca Pauline down one more as we watch Jessica Meyer working her way around the track in the 117 car, trying to get a good car. There goes Jeffrey Decker to the top of your list with a 27.547. Beaten off once again, Roger Hooker says, no, thank you, I'll take that back with the 25.4, or 27.4.
Yep, the times are falling. But you've only got 3 laps, so even though there is a lot of track evolution, especially on the dirt, if you're only going to be running your 3 laps in like a minute 30 window, when we get to the end of the session and the track is racing better, you're not going to get to take advantage of that. So there's some people who haven't gone out yet. I see Bickle, Suzuki. They might be waiting for a better track at the end of the session.
Now, do you think that's going to be the best option, Joey, or as it goes along? I mean, we talk about track degradation. Do you think it's going to get faster?
Honestly, it depends. Sometimes people can find an advantage closer to the end, and some people are going to get a little bit messed up by the slippier surface in the normal racing line. But we'll see what happens with a couple more drivers who are waiting to leave the pits, as right now we're watching the 23 of Tyson Meyer, currently placed 11th, about the middle of the field. Coming to the line, will there be any improvement? It doesn't appear so.
A team that we talked about, there you see him getting a little friendly with the wall as he comes up. Peter Mobroten working his way around, working his way around there, trying to get something. That's Mark Van Dalen, another one of Team Quikitized. Spencer McCarthy now going, not seeing a whole lot of fast times getting set. It looks like the track's getting a little slower as it starts to rubber in.
Yeah, that shows you how much I know about dirt racing. Unfortunately, I think my prediction was wrong, and these drivers who chose to wait until the end are not exactly setting the world's fastest times. The drivers who just set laps seem to be around 15th, where else? 20th. So yeah, not that great.
As we see here, that is LoveFortySix team leader, Lubaya Mosterskowska. I completely butchered that name, and I apologize to everyone. But we're going to go through as she watches. She's certainly down in 20th position, working its way across, trying to go. Is she going to be able to improve her time? Yes, with a 28 dead, that's going to bump her up to P17, so not good enough. Just as a reminder, though, the top 5 do not have to go through those heat races, and currently, as of right now, that's Roger Hooker, Jeffrey Decker, Kevin Wilkie, Chris Knox, and Nick Von Roberts.
And with Mark Van Dalen seemingly the only car still running, I don't think those top 5 are going to be challenged. So I think they'll be sitting pretty, and they'll be sitting in their pit stalls for the next 20 minutes.
Now, Joey, you think that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Because we've seen a lot of times in dirt racing, as we watch Dan Suzuki trying to set a fast time, he's currently 7th, that actually getting out during those heat races allows you to really get a good sense of the track. You get a sense of the evolution. Do you think there's going to be any advantage to maybe qualifying 6th and being able to be feeling that out as it goes along?
Well, it's always good to turn more laps. For 1, just because it's fun, and for 2, so you can learn the car a little bit more. But this is dirt street stock racing, and if anyone has ever driven a rookie street stock race, you know that calamity pile-ups can ensue, and if you're automatically advancing to the finals without having to deal any of that, I'd be pretty happy.
Well, we are gridding up here for the first of our 2 heat races, and here is going to be your starting order. You see it there on the GSRC timer, and if you want to follow along with any of the live timing that we have, keep an eye on your favorite driver, hop on over to gsrc.tv to be able to follow along with us. But as we look at these drivers gridding up right now, we have Andrew Hopley and Ben Evs in 1st and 2nd. Peter Mobroten in 3rd, Tyson Meyer 4th, Hassan Gellert in 5th, Gabriela Jakova in 6th.
Then in P7 will be Matthias Bengtsson, then Dan Suzuki, Jessica Myers, Magnus Danielson, Zach Price, Andrea Benedetti, and pay no attention to the driver in 13th place. They will not be participating because they are talking to you right now.
what driver in there? So we're getting ready to go here now. Once again, just to keep everybody up to date, this is going to be a 10-lap shootout heat. The top 5 qualify, so that is the transfer position. First lap here, Joey, are you going high or are you going on the low side?
It's gonna depend on where everyone else goes, honestly. Like, if you're at the back, if you're Andrea Benedetti starting at the back of the pack, you're just gonna have to hope that a hole opens up for you with the cars up ahead, and you can sail right through. It is hard to avoid accidents on such a tight dirt course, but we will see what happens and if overtakes can actually be made.
I think we're going to see about a 50-50 chance as we are dealing with some of the best drivers, period, downright, no questions asked, on the iRacing service. So definitely going to be some fun stuff as the iRacing pace truck works its way around. We are 1 to green here. So getting ready to go green for the first of our heat races here tonight. Now that truck is going to lead us around for one more lap. We're going to have to see what happens, see if this dirt track can go. That is going to be Andrew Hopley and Ben Evs leading us off. Any predictions coming into first round here?
I have no predictions, honestly. I don't think you can predict what's going to happen here. Like you said, we have some of the best drivers on iRacing, but when you look at the licenses, we got R, 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 D, D, R, R, D, R, R, D, R. So we've got very experienced drivers, but very inexperienced dirt drivers, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out and who ends up surviving in the top 5 here.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Joey. It is going to be a race of survival. 10 laps to decide who gets in. The top 5 advance through to the A main. We are ready to get going for a wonderful day of charity. The pace truck pulls in and away we go. That's Andrew Hopley with a great start. Ben Evs and Peter McBroden lining in behind. Tyson Meyer just trying to figure it out. Dives in on the inside line. Great move there from Meyer. He's going to be able to move his way past Peter McBroden as it's going to be Hopley, Evs, and Meyer 1, 2, 3.
A little bit of bumping already in turn 1, but they got away with it. That's just part of the racing. We'll see how much longer they can get away with it, as one car, the 22, is in the wall out back. It's not going to be a caution because they're still rolling. But the battle up front rages on, and nobody's pulling away yet.
Nobody's out at the front of it, but there's like Jakova gets a little bit back into the rear of Peter McBroden there. This battle for third really starting to shape up. Jakova trying to find a way by of these 2 lead drivers, but not finding anything. They're taking the 2 best pass. A little bit of a modified slider line there from Jakova. They're really starting to line it up together, but everybody keeping it nice and clean as they go by.
A little bit of a love tap going into the corner, and it just happened again with the 23, but nothing too out of shape here, as Jelkova actually just made the pass for 4th. Gotten ahead of 5th place. Can't you make up the next position and get up to 3rd at this corner? It's a deep dive. There's going to be a bump and a bit of a shove, but that is 3rd place.
Yeah, a bit of a shove there from Jelkova, but she's running a great race, able to shut the door on Tyson Meyer and really get going by him. She's going to take a slightly wider outside. Meyer not able to get the car to fully rotate until about mid-corner. Settles it out there, and Jelkova now looks ahead, sets her sights ahead on Ben Evs. Behind them, you can see the rest of those lining in order behind McBroden. That's Suzuki, Gellert, Miles, Myers, really starting to get in and make this race interesting.
And what was battle for 3rd for McBroden is now battle for 5th, the battle for the last transfer position. So we'll see if he can hang on. He's got Suzuki all over the back of him now. How many laps do we have left? We got 6 laps left. Can he hang on? Up in the lead is Andrew Hopley still. He's pulled a gap of 1.6 seconds to Ben Evs. He seems to be the moment as the gap expands even further. Looking back to second, Ben Evs has another big gap behind him of 1.5 seconds to Jilkova, and then the battle for fifth has expanded a little bit as Mccarthy is actually on the inside of Meyer, looking to move from fifth to fourth.
Mccarthy's sticking his nose up there, but thinks better of it, dives back, tries to take an outside line, get a little bit more power on it. Meyer, oh, as it looks like Mccarthy tagged the inside wall, that's going to put him out of contention right now. There you see him, heavy damage to the front of that car and to the rear. I think he may have gotten collected by somebody from behind as well.
Very unfortunate. He just got a little bit too much steering in it, spun into the wall, and I believe that'll be the end. Oh, we're going to a replay.
And here we go. You can see him. He comes in, trying to work his way around Tyson Meyer. Just over-rotates the car a little bit, dives into the wall, and it just looks like that's Magnus Danielson, who just clipped the back of him, maybe a little bit of net code, but we're going to jump back up there. You can see Peter Mccarthy. We're going to take a look at your leaders. Ben Evs in second, Andrew Hopley still leading away, Gabriela Jakova lining in third. They are very spread out as it is. We're going to jump back to P5 though with Dan Suzuki in a hot battle.
And now it's Hassan Gellert behind Suzuki for fifth, now that Mccarthy is out for the count. It looks like it's going to be a battle between the 9 and the 25 for that last spot. Time is running out. This is the final lap, so we're going to need an absolute send.
But we're going to jump back up and keep an eye. This is your leader as Andrew Hopley comes out of turn 4 for the last time. He's going to look down the start-finish line, cross the line to win the heat race. Ben Evs second, Gabriela Jilkova third. Looks like that battle for fifth isn't going to play out as Tyson Meyer crosses the line and Dan Suzuki in fifth. Those are your transfer spots.
A dominant performance by Hopley, almost 2 seconds at the line as the drivers are having a little bit of fun after the finish, as this is a hosted session, so no safety rating to worry about. Got a little bit of a used car pile there.
A little bit of that. And we are going to grid up for our second heat race here. We are going to be led off the line by Rebecca Pauline. Spencer Mccarthy will line up second. Mikkel Atmaka, in third, followed by Niels Testers in fourth. Drew Bickle in fifth, and Love in sixth.
Then in seventh will be Sergio Cordiel. Then James Goldstein in 8th place. Our host, Annie Rabbets, in P9. Then Mark Van Dalen in 10th. Andy Morell. Shine Daggett will be rounding out the field in 12th.
Well, Joey, in that last race, it looked like the way to go around this track was sort of to take that middle line. We saw Tyson Meyer thinking about the low line here and there. Obviously, Mccarthy had some very ill luck down tagging the inside wall off 4. So looks like that mid line's the safest and the fastest way around the track right now.
Yep, and you just got to be careful at the end of the race, like we saw with old Pete. Unfortunately, that middle line will get quite slippy, so if you over-rotate the car just a little bit, you are going to be taking a bite out of the wall. So these drivers are going to hopefully learn from that mistake, and we'll see all 12 of them with no damage at the finish. It's like an armada of blue cars here. The 46, the 27, the 51. I don't know if they're going to team up or something. Maybe they're... Oh, never mind. Of course they're going to team up. They're the LoveFortySix team. That's why they're all blue. That makes sense, doesn't it? As we're going to take one more lap around before the green flag. We'll see how they can team up.
I was looking at that one thinking, wow, it's very similar paint schemes to everybody, so thank you for putting 2 and 2 together on that. I'm not sure I would have gotten it. But we line up here coming off of turn 2, iRacing Pace Truck, leading the car. That is Rebecca Pauline and Spencer Mccarthy in that front row, the 015 and the 26. Looking to get a good start. We saw in that last race, Andrew have an absolutely stellar start and lead flag to flag. I think Rebecca Pauline is going to be hoping to do the exact same thing here. lining everything up. Pace truck getting ready to pull into the pits. The spotters eyeing the field, ready to go. And ladies and gentlemen, here comes the green flag. Great run there from Rebecca Pauline, pulling out a good advantage there. A flock of bees in behind them, lining everything up. Ooh, it looks like Love trying to make a good move down the inside. She's on fire here today. Has to back out of it a little bit as we go 3 wide in the mid-pack. But the real story here is Rebecca Pauline just absolutely running away with the field with a whole bunch of action in the middle.
Yeah, the middle cannot run away from each other as they've been beating and banging non-stop for the last 2 corners. Coming up to second at the line will be Atmaka. Where did he start? He started third, so he's made up 1 position. We haven't seen too much change of position, but there has been a lot of close racing.
And that's Spencer McCarthy, the second driver to line up on the grid, lining up right behind him. So that battle for second really, really heating up as you can see it. But jumping back a couple of positions, that Drew Bickle, Cheyenne Daggett, that's car 11. That battle is really starting to heat up side by side as they go in. That's Teaster's looking in to try to get it. They are double file going through turns 1 and 2.
And at the back of the pack, I believe something happened with Morel, Rabbets, and Van Dalen. They are 14 and 15 seconds behind this lead pack, so maybe we'll see what happened to them, and I honestly wonder if they'll end up being lapped traffic before the end of the race.
They very well might be. As you look to the front of this little battle, that is Love and Atmaka, excuse me, going side by side, never seeing each other, but racing each other very hard. Atmaka falling a little bit behind there. Right behind them, that's Ferrero lining up, making a nice little triangle. Very difficult for anybody to get by them, but they're trying to work their way forward, setting their sights just ahead of them on Spencer McCarthy.
And the problem the Blue Armada is going to have here, they are a team, but only 2 of the 3 in your picture right now will advance because they're battling for 4th, 5th, and 6th. So maybe they'll have to decide which teammate to sacrifice, or maybe they'll be able to set their sights on the cars up front and get them all through.
The idea of sacrificing a teammate during this race is one that I find very intriguing, but you hit the nail on the head a little bit earlier there, Joey. That is the lap traffic of Andy Morel getting off to the side on the left there, making it nice and easy for this massive pack. They go Noah's Ark style, 2x2x2, right through turns 1 and 2. Love getting ahead of Atmaka, but Atmaka, that great momentum on the outside, letting him pull ahead just a little bit as they go in. This battle getting very tight going in through 3 and 4. Love making the inside line work quite well, but Goldstein working the inside, sliding up at a little bit of a slider line, but no way by these 2 Team Love drivers.
Nope, they are completely blocking everybody off, but the 17 of Goldstein is trying to look for a gap. He's all over the back of the 2 blue cars, but just doesn't seem to be able to find a hole through the middle of the 2 of them.
We're going to jump back up to our leader here as Rebecca Pauline, just the absolute class of the field, going faster and faster, about 2.1 seconds ahead of everyone else. Nobody can touch Rebecca here today. It looks like 3 laps to go. We jump back to that great battle we were watching. This now poor P3, Atmaka and Love still just trading fast lap after fast lap. Love down to the inside, Atmaka to the outside.
Yeah, the 17, we didn't see it, but the 17 got a little bit dumped into the wall. They are down in 8th place, and that means that no teammates are going to have to be sacrificed because they're 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yay, we like not having to sacrifice people as we get down here with 2 laps to go. All 3 of these drivers will qualify or will advance to the feature if things stay as they are. Atmaka is now looking like he's going to have a good advantage over Love and Ferrero as we cross over the line here. Taking the white flag is Rebecca Pauline, working their way through. Nothing really doing back in this battle. 4P5. We're going to jump to Rebecca. Here she goes down the back stretch for one last time, diving that car in through 3 and 4. She just has this car all kinds of figured out. A nearly 3-second lead, crosses the start-finish line to take the flag. Spencer McCarthy behind her, Atmaka, Love, and Fierro, your top 5, your advancing runners from this heat race.
A dominant performance from Pauline, the driver from Dan Suzuki's team. And McCarthy, he was kind of anonymous, but he survived the race. That's better than what most other drivers can say. Second place is nothing to be ashamed of, and he will be going to the finals.
It's the old adage, in order to finish first you must finish, and that's exactly what McCarthy was able to do. As now we reset the track a little bit, we've got a 5-minute warm-up for these drivers to come back out, get a little bit of a feel for the track again before we have to dive back in and jump into our 25-lap feature event tonight.
Definitely need to get warmed up. They have driven a total of 20 laps across the 15 drivers, but definitely does not hurt to get that last little bit of an advantage from practicing. So we're looking at Chris Knox in the white and pink motor vehicle. Chris Knox from Glasgow, Scotland. Maybe not entirely used to dirt racing up in Scotland, but he's certainly doing well enough right here.
Now he's got his car through to the final, and that's about all I would say you can do at this point. Here is Ben Evs, one of the team leaders, working his way around the track. As we mentioned, Ben driving for the Samaritans charity today. You can see that on his livery. Ticking down with just under 4 minutes to go here in this warm-up. We're about to start having our fast times coming on in through live timing and scoring. As the Chris Knox does go fastest with the 27.5, Kevin Wilkie and Dan Suzuki right behind him, but drivers crossing the line on their first flying lap. We're going to see some good times coming in.
Absolutely, and we're hardly even a minute in, so with such short laps, you can get a surprising amount of practice and a surprising amount of exercise, frankly, in such a short session. Evs on top, Chris Knox knocks over the wall on the inside there. That was a bit of showmanship. Good for him.
Yeah, it looks like he and Kevin Wilkie had a little bit of a coming together off of the corner as Ben Evs improves his time once again at the 27.382, fastest lap we've seen in this warm-up. So there you can see the 18 of Atmaka going by. That is, I believe, Spencer McCarthy there as well. So those two just getting a little bit of practice battling in. That is one of the things when you're racing dirt, Joey, that you really do have to keep in mind. Hot lapping's one thing, but you put a couple of cars on the track, you've got to have a lot better idea of where your car's boundaries are.
Indeed, there's a not so accurate adage that people like to say that road racing is driving the car and oval racing is driving other drivers. I'm not entirely sure that's accurate, but in dirt racing you are definitely driving at the will of the other drivers, finding different lines that didn't necessarily work in qualifying, but that's what you have to do to get ahead in the race.
It is indeed, as we see Jeffrey Decker there on his last lap, putting in a 27.236. That's only about 500ths off of Ben Evs' best time. So those two teammates there, both driving for that Ben Evs team, both looking like they've got something here for the feature race if everything holds true. Nick Vaughn Roberts, Kevin Wilkie, Chris Knox, Dan Suzuki, Love, Roger Hooker, Spencer McCarthy, and Mikel Atmaka rounding out your top 10 as Ferrero jumps up to 10 now. Only 11 drivers taken to the track for this warm-up.
And something I noticed in the midst of this practice, we talked about the blue Armada in the last heat. We got a green Armada in the finals. Hooker, Decker, Vaughn Roberts, and Evs, all part of the same Samaritans team. So we're going to have a whole host of green cars, a whole host of blue cars. We might get a team-for-team, wheel-to-wheel battle for 25 laps, which will be pretty exciting.
as we continue to watch here, everybody working down, ticking down under 40 seconds to go on this track. Standings have stayed back the same. Andrew Hopley, though, able to come out, turn a couple of laps, putting himself up into P4. Love also coming out, bettering her time of a 27.684, just under 20 seconds to go here in the warm-up. It's about ready time to go feature racing.
Indeed, and you mentioned Hopley out on track, but the winner of the other heat, Rebecca Pauline, she is still in the pits. She has not turned a single lap in this warm-up session.
Could be a strategy by the drivers.
Maybe she's confident in her abilities. Maybe she just doesn't want to drive even more.
Yeah, I was going to say it could be one of those. There also may be a conscious effort not to try to wear down the track as much, limit the number of people out, and see if that has any effect whatsoever. But we are about ready to grid up for this 15-car heat race, and we will run you through that order as the cars get ready to go. Lining up on pole is going to be Roger Hooker, followed by Jeffrey Decker. Kevin Wilkie going to be lining up third, and Chris Knox in fourth. Nick Von Roberts in fifth. Andrew Hopley in sixth. Rebecca Pauline in seventh, and Ben Evs in eighth.
Then right behind will be Spencer McCarthy in 9th, Gabriela Jilkova in 10th, Michaela Maka in 11th, Tyson Meyer 12th, Love Lyubov Ozretskovskaya in 12th, 13th rather, Dan Suzuki 14th, and Sergio Gurdiel Ferrero down in P15.
Now this is going to be, as we mentioned, a 25-lap state here. It is going to be fast. It's going to be tricky. We're going to have to see what these guys can do. And it's going to be a lot of good action. You put 25 of these street stocks on a track like this where there are long, long straightaways and tight corners, you're going to get a little bit of mixing and matching, a little bit of bumping and rubbing as they get going.
In the heat races, we didn't see much in terms of passing or much in terms of being able to elevate yourself up the grid. The most we saw was drivers going from like 6th to 3rd or so. But if you're Dan Suzuki, if you're Tyson Meyer, if you're Michaela Maka, you're starting in the back of the pack, you're going to need to figure out ways to make your way up the field and actually make some passes. But they do have a lot of time to do so, so it's definitely possible.
Oh, it's most certainly possible. Pace truck leading the field here, coming in on one lap until we go green. Everybody lining up. That front row there, that is going to be a lockout for the Ben Evs team. That is Team Samaritan Charity. Once again, if you want to donate to any of the charities that we are talking about that these drivers are racing for, check down in the description and in the chat as well. So we're constantly putting those up there. Make sure to donate. It's a good time to do so. But right now, we are getting ready to go green. Roger Hooker leading these cars to the line. Jeffrey Decker right to his outside. Getting ready, 25-lap feature race here at the virtual USA International Speedway. Pace truck pulls into the pits. All eyes are up to the stand, and here's the green flag. That's a great start there from Roger Hooker. Wilkie now getting challenged up there, getting a challenge to Decker. Oh, and they get really close, pushing each other outside wide. Chris Knox able to slip up the inside, jumping 2 positions up to first. There's a big kerfluffle in the back there. Looks like everybody able to keep going except for Spencer McCarthy. He gets caught out, has to turn himself back around.
Kerfluffle was an accurate word. Unfortunately, Hopley got destroyed. He got hit from multiple angles. I think he might be done. And I think we're going to a replay, are we?
Looks like we're going to stay live as we continue to watch this action. Roger Hooker really running away with this field. Chris Knox trying to catch him back. Jeffrey Decker, Nick Von Roberts, and Ben Evs making up your top 5. This is a massive, massive result for that team. Ben Evs' team, that is 4 of them in that top 5. Ooh, a little bit of contact there. Rebecca Pauline trying to work her way up the inside of Ben Evs, but nothing doing there as Roger Hooker sets the fastest lap with the 27.440.
And these drivers will be intercepting some lap traffic before we know it. Oh, just kidding. The 86 of Kevin Wilkie was crabbing very badly from that accident, but he has moved his way into the pits. As we see those lead drivers, the team of green cars, a little bit of a slam. Rebecca Pauline just got back there.
Yeah, that's Gabriela Jolkova trying to do a slide job there on Pauline. Didn't really work to her expectation. Didn't get the car rotated just to where she wanted. But you see there, that is the 13 and 16 on your screen of Jeffrey Decker and Nick Bond Roberts. That is the battle for third that is shaping up behind Chris Knox. Roger Hooker still out in the lead, about 0.8 of a second ahead. They're not letting him get the massive advantage that we really saw get run during the course of the heat races.
They are not at all. The gap is about less than 0.8. Chris Knox turned a lap just a little bit faster than Hooker did last time, so the gap is closing, and there's 20 laps to go, so there is plenty of time to close that down.
Plenty of time to keep it up and going. Ooh, Chris Knox gets a little bit squirrely coming off of that turn 4. Jeffrey Decker starting to lick his chops, thinking about a way to get by. So it takes a slightly wider line coming through turns 1 and 2. Can he get the momentum and keep that power down? No, I think it's going to be advantage Knox down the back stretch, but almost nothing in between him. Now that's Decker going down to the inside. Can he make that move work? He looks for it. No, he cannot, but very, very lots of over rotation for Knox, trying to keep that car under control, but Knox still able to keep out in the front and ahead of everybody else behind him. Everybody really going single file. Joey, it's proven very difficult to pass here today.
Very, very difficult. We saw a little bit of a bump from Decker to, well, not a little bit of a bump, a bit of a bump from Decker to Knox, but they managed to keep it going straight. The back of those Green Samaritans cars says win it or bin it. Maybe they'll need to bin it to win it. I'm not sure how much the drivers are going to be, I don't know how much courtesy they're going to give to each other when we get to the last couple laps. Maybe there will be a NASCAR-style punt out of the way for the win. We'll see if they can't make a pass otherwise.
We shall see indeed, as there you see Sergio Gardel Ferrero. He is a lap car, being very, very courteous, sticking down to the inside, letting these leaders battle it out. Ooh, a bad turn off the corner there from Roger Hooker. That gap now under 0.8 of a second, so Knox really keeping him in his sights. We are on board with Chris Knox here. There you can see Decker Hooker right ahead, Decker behind him. They're going to dive here into turn 3. You can see how you've got to really carry as much speed as you can, get that car cross-side, get the power down to get a good blast off of the line. Knox does a good job keeping that gap very, very consistent at hovering just about 0.8 of a second up to the leader.
Yeah, they seem to be running pretty much the same pace. I think Knox is just going to have to wait for a mistake from Roger Hooker, because I don't think that gap is going to be closing naturally.
It's going to be, but we are coming up to take the 11th lap here of this 25-lap feature. Nothing really doing there. As you see there behind him, that is Ferrero. Lap traffic behind, holding up a little bit of mixed Vaughn Roberts. We're going to jump back to Dan Suzuki here. He is currently in 10th place. Ahead of him, that is Atmaka and Tyson Meyer, as he's trying to go around Suzuki in a very, very good battle with Atmaka there. That is the 18. Ooh, pushes Atmaka to the outside a little bit. Atmaka forced to run the cushion. And it looks like Suzuki's going to have it across the line, but good momentum for Atmaka, but Suzuki positions the car right to where it needs to be, stops that momentum, and is able to move himself up into 9th place.
Suzuki's been making moves, started 14th up to 9th. That is 5 positions, even with the 3 cars that we lost on the first lap, or were involved in an accident in the first lap. Oh, and there's a car spun in the wall.
Ooh, that is the number 3 of Ben Evs. We're going to jump back to replay. Walk us through this here, Joey.
Well, this is the team leader, Ben Evs, and I believe that is Rebecca Pauline in the 015, but no involvement. That was just a regular old spin from Evs, slipped up on the slippy bit of dirt, and unfortunately the team leader from the Samaritans team will not be leading them to the checkered flag.
Yeah, it looks like he just over-rotated the car, but we're going to jump right back up front as that gap has come down to under 0.4 of a second. So Chris Knox really doing a good job of reeling in Roger Hooker here, bringing Jeffrey Decker along for the ride. There you see Knox taking that very, very low line, trying to take full advantage of that moist dirt down on the inside of the track. Gets a really good blast out of the corner. He is right up behind of Hooker, but Decker now really looking like he's going to be able to challenge, runs the outside line. Knox trying to run inside. They're going to be very close off the line. A little bit of over rotation there from Knox. They're going to cross back on the back stretch here, working their way around. Knox taking an aggressive inside and forcing Hooker back to the outside again.
Yeah, you could throw a blanket over these 3 cars as Knox gets very hard in the throttle out of the corner. Knox is almost cutting the grass on the inside of these corners, but it is working, as that was very, very close between Decker's front bumper and Knox's back bumper. Luckily, no net code got involved there. But now they're going to be battling side by side. That's going to make Roger Hooker very happy, and he'll hope that he can pull away with a little bit of clean space all around him.
As we come to 9 to go at the start-finish line. Looks like that battle for Knox did not pay out. As you said, Decker really getting some good power, making that high line work, but he gets up into the gray stuff there. That's going to allow Knox to really claw himself back, but good momentum for Decker off of turn 2, moves him back into second place. Decker just trying to get that outside line to work, get that right rear tire to bounce up on the cushion. There it is. That's a perfect line for Decker. They're going to get really close off of 4. Everybody has to check up a little bit, but Decker looks like he may be able to challenge his teammate Roger Hooker for the lead.
Yep, they have split from Knox as Knox just completely takes the grass there, making a very wide Dirt USA Speedway. But that's kind of what you need to do. These 2 teammates, they're not going to let a gap open up for Knox to come through. They want this to be a Samaritans battle, not a Chris Knox, Annie Rabbits team battle.
Oh, but there was a little bit of a mistake there for Decker off of turn 4 that allowed Knox to catch right back up. Knox really doing a good job of running that inside line, but it seems like the outside just a little bit more consistent. But good momentum there from Knox coming off of turn 2, taking to the inside of the track, working its way around. These guys really running in a flying V formation here, crossing the line with 6 to go. There is absolutely nothing between Knox and Decker.
And you know who's happy that this battle's going on? Nick Von Roberts in 4th. 1.8 seconds back might be a little bit too much to make up before the end of the race. But as those 3 are battling hard, Von Roberts is definitely closing the gap.
He certainly is. You see Knox there still on the inside. A little bit of over-rotation for him there across the line. That's going to give a momentum shift back to Jeffrey Decker. There's not going to be a whole lot between them. Knox dives in hard. Looks like he's trying to take a more defensive line. Pushes Decker up to the outside a little bit more. Cuts that grass there like you were saying on the exit of turn 2. 5 laps here to go. Coming to line to 4 to go at the line.
Decker really likes that high line, and Hooker likes the middle to low line, and Knox likes the very, very low line. I don't know which one's going to come out on top, but Decker did just hit the wall, fell back a little bit. Is that going to make it a Knox versus Hooker battle again, or can Decker make his way back up?
Yeah, just tagged the wall coming off of turn 4. 4 laps to go. Hooker now able to pull out about a car and a half length advantage over Chris Knox. Knox has to check up there. Looks like he dove in a little bit too deep off of the backstretch. That allows for him to do it, but no, I thought he may have had a little bit of a run there. 3 to go at the line. This top 3 battle, really the best action on track, as there is not a whole lot separating the 2. Decker comes up, ooh, almost modified slide job, comes up right into Chris Knox, but it manages to avoid the contact, but Decker forced to check back up. We're going to ride on board with Decker to watch this battle.
Decker in the 3rd position. Knox is desperate to find any kind of gap. As the power was good there onto the start-finish straight, Knox is going to have the inside into turn 1, I think. The tight grass line isn't going to work. Hooker gets very high into the cushion. Knox very low. They're going to be side by side as we go to turn 3 and 4.
Looks like momentum is going to be dead match between the two. They dive into 3 and 4. Knox has been a little bit better through 1 and 2, I think, so it'll have to be interesting. But he sends the slide job, gets it up around. Here comes Hooker on the crossover. Then it's going to be Knox at the line with just 1 lap to go. That is the white flag, and for the first time in this race, Chris Knox is in the lead, gets up into the gray.
And Decker is still there. We could see these drivers. Oh, there's contact with Knox and Hooker. Is Hooker going to send it deep in retaliation for that move? I don't think he can. He spins out on the last corner. Win it or bin it indeed. Chris Knox wins it. Hooker bins it.
And Decker and Vaughn Roberts then rounding out your podium positions. Jokova, Pauline, Hopley crossing the line as well. Hooker looks like he is going to be classified as P7th after all of that. But that was an incredible display of patience for Chris Knox. Absolutely incredible. Really, really good driving there all the way around.
Yep, Roger Hooker led 23 laps and Chris Knox led but 2. But they were the 2 most important laps. That was a very, very exciting race and a remarkable performance and a great victory. Can't forget about the charity, Crisis UK.
We are going to run you through the official finishing order here as we have mentioned. Chris Knox able to bring the car home and take the victory here at USA International, followed by Jeffrey Decker and Nick Vaughn Roberts. Gabriela Jokova comes home in 4th. Rebecca Pauline doing a great job coming up through the field to finish 5th. Andrew Hopley in 6th. Roger Hooker spinning out in that final corner, but still able to come home in 7th. Tyson Meyer had a quiet race back in 8th. Mikel Admaka in 9th, and Dan Suzuki in 10th.
Then the cars that unfortunately went a lap down included Spencer Mccarthy, who finished 12th, Sergio Cordial Ferrero in 11th, Ben Evs, the leader of the Samaritans team that we saw up front for so long, ended up 13th. In 14th was the 46, Love, and 15th went to Kevin Wilkie, who we unfortunately tragically lost on the first lap.
Absolute tragedy to lose him, but we are going to take a quick break here at GSRC, get all spooled up, and we will be coming right back at you for our second part of tonight's racing action. This is going to be a GT race at Phillip Island Circuit, but don't go anywhere. We will be back after a quick message. Hello and welcome back. We are here at the Phillip Island Street Circuit to watch some GT3s for the We Race for Charity event presented by Snail Racing. Now, before we get into any of the fun that's going to be going on track, we're going to send you directly to the GSRC lap guide for Phillip Island, one of the best tracks in the Southern Hemisphere.
Welcome to Phillip Island. As the name implies, this track is located on a splotch of land off the south coast of Australia near Melbourne. While there's been plenty of racing here for close to a century, the track's current incarnation has only been around since the late 80s. And this version is a doozy. With only 12 turns spread across the roughly 4.5 kilometers, it's a decently fast circuit. But what really makes this place stand apart is the incredible variety in those few corners. From negative to positive camber, early apexes, late apexes, blind crest, hairpins, sweepers, if you name it, it's probably got it. On top of that, the front stretch tends to offer up a slipstream with its incredible length, but it then forces the drivers into a game of chicken by chucking them into the frightening doing. Corners like Wilkie Heights stretches a car's grip to the limit and then shocks you with a sudden downhill braking into MG. Retaining something of an old-school twist, unlike most modern courses, Phillip Island has earthen embankments running along many parts of the track. While it's meant to keep the cars safely retained within the circuit's confines, anyone unfortunate enough to manage to jump them will be faced with a ton of damage for their troubles. A variety of types of racing take place at the track, including motorcycles, lower-level open-wheelers, and touring cars. Possibly the most well-known among those is the Australian Supercars Championship. With the Aussie reputation of having dangerous, difficult, and challenging circuits, Phillip Island certainly holds up to the standard. The beautiful views of the beach and the ocean may lure some of the fans in, but there's no doubt that the incredible racing at this unique track keeps them around.
And that was a great little look at the Phillip Island circuit. And to give us just a little bit more cover, I want to bring back into the booth my co-commentator, Joe Tebben. Joey, what can we expect here today?
Well, it'll be a little bit more predictable than the dirt race, I think, just because these drivers have far more road course experience. We saw an array of rookie and D-class licenses last time, but as I look down the licenses here, we got A, couple C's, couple B's, but the vast majority of these drivers are A-class road course drivers, very experienced. Here at Phillip Island, I assume all of them have driven here before, the 12-turn circuit on Phillip Island in the lovely state of Victoria in Australia, 4.445 kilometers, or 2.762 miles if you're here in America.
Yeah, this track is a favorite of both drivers and spectators. Always puts on a very good show, especially when you're driving in these GT3s that our drivers are out on track with today. Just over 20 minutes to go here in practice. What I think is especially something to watch, obviously it is a bit of multi-class racing, but we've got two new cars that are actually going to be making an appearance here today. Not only do we have the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 EVO that was added to iRacing last week, we actually have a couple of drivers who are making a very, very gutsy call and jumping out in the new BMW M4 GT3 that was released just earlier this week. So not a lot of practice time for these guys, but they're going to give it a shot in this new BMW.
It'll definitely be interesting to see how they can react to that as Andrew Hopley is coming out of the pits. And I'd just like to solve a personal dispute here. DJ, would you agree that the front nose of the BMW M4 looks like a Dodge Charger?
Oh no, it 100% does. I very much think that they had a little bit of stealing. It almost looks like it's something out of like a Templar thing with the cross that it makes. But yeah, that M4, whole lot of fun to drive. And there you see Andrew making a pass on one of the drivers in that new Lamborghini. Also equally fun to drive. but that M4, only a couple of them out in it right now. Looks like Tyson Meyer and Andrew are the only two drivers giving a chance in that new M4. The other cars that we're going to be seeing out on the circuit today, the Audi R8 LMS, our old favorite, the Mercedes AMG GT3, currently highest place is the 69 car of Rebecca Pauline. There you see it. Always one of the prettiest cars on the service and one of the best sounding. We also have quite a few drivers putting some laps out in the McLaren MP412-12C, best of which is Sergio Ferrero. There you see him currently in third. So plenty of drivers out in some different cars. We also have Cheyenne Daggett is going to be out there running. That's number 67. That is going to be the Ferrari GT3. So a whole plethora of cars out to see. Going to be interesting to see who can handle the track best, and if any cars this is going to play to their natural advantage.
And if you want to talk about out of place, you look at Dan Suzuki in the Ford GT GT3. This is not the GTE car that we've seen at IMSA and Le Mans these past couple of years. This is the old style Ford GT. It's going to be very interesting to see how that holds up with some of these more modern GT cars.
It certainly will, and that car, a little bit of a fabrication for iRacing based off of the mid-2000s GT, so not obviously based on the GT that recently ran Le Mans as of a couple of years ago. So kind of specifically created based off an existing car, but with some tweaks and plays here. But just looking at the orders right now, you see Peter Mobrotten currently sitting in that P1 with a 26.772. He is in one of the Audis. Kevin Wilkie in second in one of the Lamborghinis, followed by Sergio Ferrero in third place. He is in a McLaren, and then McCarthy, Vaughn Roberts, and Evs rounding out your top six. All of them are in the Audi. So Joey, looks like that Audi's kind of the car to be in.
Definitely, I'd say, with 4 cars in the top 6, and there's a couple further down the order, but generally the Audi does look to have a lot of pace. The Lamborghini, pretty close, I'd say, and the McLaren, not too shabby either. I don't think we'll see any of the cars necessarily too slow to race for the win here, but the Audis are off to a very fast and promising start.
As we ride on board here with one of those Audi drivers coming up from turn 9 of Loop, or excuse me, that is the turn 12. I should know the track a little bit better. Blasting down that main straightaway, going 3 wide as they dip through Doohan here. Really, really amazing place to drive. This is going to be one of the best passing zones on the track. That long Gardner Straight diving down into the southern loop. It's not a super heavy braking zone necessarily, probably jumping down to about second, maybe third gear or so. But coming off of the main straight, that is going to be a lot of speed, so there's going to be a good chance for a draft. Other great passing zone is going to be right here. This tight right-handed hairpin of Honda corner, working their way around there. There's a chance for a double back here into Siberia. This is a great corner up the hill, slightly off camber. Really got to be late putting the power down.
Siberia would be not very nice to cold tires. We're talking about the region of Russia and that corner as well. Cold tires always a problem in GT cars, but especially in tight corners like that and Honda corner. That'll be an interesting thing to watch once we get into the first couple laps of the race, and we see an Audi mowing a little bit of grass.
And here we have Wilkie working his way around. That, of course, is the Lamborghini. You can see him coming and working his way around the track, coming out onto the main straight, trying to get as much speed as he can to carry on over. Excuse me, that's not the main straightaway. He is working his way through the track now, diving down. He's off the main straightaway. That is going into Honda, that tight right-handed hairpin as he works his way around Siberia. Now, from everything I've heard, that Lamborghini is a very, very lively car. It's got a very pointy front end, so easy to get around the track. Will definitely be of service in some of those tighter bends. I think the Audi and the McLaren are also going to have that, but the straight line speed of the Mercedes may be something to play here down that Gardner Straight. But once again, it's going to be fun to see. Rebecca Pauline currently is the top Mercedes driver, working her way into P4 right now.
Yeah, not too many straights on this track, pretty much just the one. There's a little bit of a curvy straight that's a Stoner corner going into Honda, but other than that, this is no Monza. We got a lot of corners, a lot of undulation, so some of the more nimble GT cars are definitely going to have a fun time around this place.
Yeah, and it'll be a little difficult for Pauline, that notoriously understeery Mercedes. If you know how to drive it and work the trail brake a little bit, it'll go well. But here is Ben Eves, 7th place team leader for Team Samaritan. He is working his way around the track now in his Audi. And just to recount for everybody, we are racing today for charity. So if you want to make a donation to any of these folks' charity, check out the links in our episode description below. I believe it's also been thrown up into chat. All of these guys running around today on their Twitch streams, all these great Twitch communities, raising money for their charity of choice in the spirit of holiday giving. So this obviously led by the woman on screen, Annie Rabbets. She is going around in her shiny new Lamborghini. So thank you to Annie for setting this up and for putting everything together for a great cause.
And just a reminder, if you weren't here for the beginning part of the broadcast, Annie in that car is supporting Crisis UK. It's a national UK charity for homeless people. Their website says, "We help people directly out of homelessness and campaign for the changes needed to solve it all together. We know that together we can end homelessness." So a very good cause represented on that Lamborghini, but there are many good causes represented on all the cars throughout the field, and we'll talk a little bit more about all of them as we continue through this practice session.
And there you see one of the other team leaders. That is Gabriela Jokova. She is racing for a charity of her choice. Her team going on out there. Another, we might as well talk about a few of them now, as we've got a little bit, just over 12 minutes of practice left. Dan Suzuki. He is going to be running today. There you see him. He's going to be running for Tierheim Hochtenhaus, which is an animal shelter and boarding facility in Oberrussel, Germany. So a very close charity to his heart, as he is from around that area. Ben Eves, his Twitch stream, Ben Eves is his full name there. He is running for the Samaritans charity today. They are a charity that is committed to a vision that fewer people die by suicide every year. Samaritans volunteers spend over 1 million hours answering calls for help via their unique 24-hour listening service, email, letters, and face-to-face through their Welsh language service. So that is what Ben and the rest of his team are driving for here today.
Great causes all around, with Samaritans, with Crisis UK, with the shelter, with Tierheim Hochtenhaus. Great stuff all around as we look back on track to Tyson Meyer, one of the takers on the new BMW. You might think that's Dazzle Camo, and forgive me for not being as Twitch literate as some of the people in this race. I know that's a Twitch emote, but I don't know what it's called.
I believe that is Mr. Quirk himself. That is Tyson Meyer's face all over that car, so very clearly having a little bit of fun with that.
Look how much I know. I couldn't even tell you that the man's own face was on his car.
Don't feel bad. It's what happens when you're trying to learn how to be better and watch a lot of Twitch highlights. That's how I know it. But as we watch here, this is the number 86 of Kevin Wilkie working his way around the track in that new Lamborghini. Kevin obviously driving for Annie Rabbits' team, and you can see the Crisis Center UK. Andrew Hopley there going around now, also driving for that Crisis UK team. He is the other taker in that new BMW. We saw Tyson get a little squirrely, a little bit of brake lock up there from Andrew. So I think it's a really gutsy call to be able to go out there. You see him coming off, trying out this new car so quickly. I mean, Joey, this thing was released, what, Wednesday, Thursday? It was a very, very quick turnaround to be racing this in a competitive sense here today.
Well, I'd say there's no better place to try it out than a charity race with nothing on the line except some donations, and a bit of fun. So if your way of fun is learning a new car around a track that's got pretty much no runoff other than grass, all power to you, Andrew Hopley, and the other drivers who picked that car.
There you go, and here comes Matthias Bengtson working his way around, and he is going to be on Team Quikitized as well. There you see Tyson's face all over that car. So him working his way through it, but while we tick under 10 minutes to go, Joey, why don't you run us through the race details of what this race at Phillip Island has in store for us today?
Well, first of all, it's going to have a lot of fun in store for us, but right now we are engaging in a 25-minute practice session, which will be coming to an end in about 9 minutes. Then after that, we'll have a 10-minute 2-lap lone qualifying. It won't be group qualifying, so there'll be no traffic, nothing to navigate through. Then a 40-minute sprint race. Every driver, no heats like on the dirt. It'll just be a... How many cars are in this race? 30 cars, 30 GT cars for 40 minutes. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a rolling start, and they'll have 2 fast repairs for when inevitably they end up in the Phillip Island walls.
Yeah, not exactly unheard of with some of the tricky nature of these corners. It is not uncommon to see a few of them flying off. Riding on board here with one of those Lambos, this is Ian Bevan driving for Team Quikitized. You can see him working his way through doing right there down, getting the car slowed ever so slightly for the southern loop. One of the things that makes that corner in particular so fantastic is the multiple lines you can take into it. As you see, locks up the rear tires ever so slightly coming out of that corner. It's really a decision you can make of, do I want to sacrifice a little bit of speed here, there, multiple lines, but there really is only one good line into this corner. That is Honda corner, turn 4. Good overtaking zone, but you really need to get the power down. Siberia here, one of the trickier corners on the track. It doesn't look like it, but that long left-handed corner, you've got to get the power down at just the right point to be able to blast up the hill through 7-8 sweepers and into Lukey Heights.
And Ian Bevan, I guess we can consider him a local driver. He's not from Australia where this track is, but he is from just across the sea in New Zealand, so maybe he's got a little bit of a home turf advantage here, and we'll see if that can help him out in the race. He's currently P9, which not too bad. It's the upper third of the field. Ian Bevan definitely going to be one to watch in that very unique Tyson Meyer Dazzle Camo livery.
It certainly catches your eye every single time. And you can see there up on your screens to the left of it there, that GSRC timing tower. The top 5 currently sitting at Mobrotten, Ferrero, Meyer, Wilkie, and Roberts, and Von Roberts putting in his fastest time on the last lap. If you want to follow with a little bit more detail of that timing, head over to gsrc.tv, where you can follow along with our live timing and scoring and keep up to date with some of your favorite drivers. So great way to watch the race and keep track of just a little bit more detail of what's going on.
Looks like the track is quieting down just a little. Oh, never mind. I guess just the pit straight was quieting down. We got a whole bunch of cars trying to take advantage of all the practice time, as here is Rebecca Pauline in that Ben Keating-esque wins livery in the Mercedes. Currently P3, only 0.07 of a second off the leader, or 0.08 of a second rather. So that Mercedes definitely not at a big disadvantage.
No, it's not. She's really making that car work to perfection. And so massive kudos to Rebecca. There you can see great onboard shot from our director there, moving the car down. You see how squiggly it gets as you've got to apply a little bit of trail brake over Lukey Heights and get down into MG. And then this here is one of the most important corners on the track, that 11 and 12 complex. It's spaced out if you look at it on a track map, but if you want to take the correct racing line, it's really one long corner. But you've got to get it absolutely perfectly. Why? Well, because it leads onto the straightaway right here, your longest area of straight acceleration. You've got to get that corner exit absolutely perfect to be able to dive down here into doing, and then into one of those good passing zones we talked about, into the southern loop. You see that multiple line, that 4GT in front of Pauline, taking a little bit of a different line from her, trying to figure everything out. And then we dive here through this left-handed fast flat out corner of Stoner, and hard on the brakes into Honda corner. She gets by the Ford and stays third place overall. Like we said, really, really good laps here from Rebecca.
Fantastic laps from her and everybody in the field. The field is separated by a total of 5.2 seconds. I'm not sure if the drivers out back have turned too many laps, but it's a very, very close field of GT3 cars here, and I think the race is going to be very exciting once we get to it. We saw how good a 25-lap dirt street stock race was. We'll see how good a 40-minute GT3 race was with the exact same drivers.
Well, and Joey, you said it right at the top that a lot of these drivers, you know, some of their specialties really are these GT3 cars. So they're coming into their own on this. That first dirt street stock race, that's just a little bit of a wrench in the works, but this is where these folks shine. So I think you're going to see some very, very good action from some of the best iRacing has to offer.
And we see a couple drivers in the session who weren't here for the street stock event. I see Zach Price, who I don't believe was there. Of course, Ian Bevan has joined. And I think Niels Teasters. I don't believe he was there for the dirt street stock event either. So got a couple drivers who are joining a little bit late, but they had to get in on the fun eventually.
And once again, racing everybody across the board, all those drivers, new and old, racing for good causes. Check out those links in the chat and in our description as we come down here with just 3 minutes to go in practice. Had to pause myself to get that perfectly. You see the cars crossing the start-finish line here. Peter Mabrotten making his way at the top of the tables right now. He is still the fastest car on track with 26.772. The rest of your top five, Sergio Gardel Ferrero, Rebecca Pauline, Tyson Meyer, and Ian Bevan popping up to that top five in the Lamborghini. Kind of a fun little breakdown here as we have an Audi, a McLaren, a Mercedes, a BMW, and a Lamborghini making up your top five. So 5 drivers, 5 different cars.
Is this the Phillip Island sprint race, or is this the Phillip Island auto show? We've got so many manufacturers, so many makes. It's quite beautiful to see. And it's a beautiful day on the Phillip Island of Victoria, Australia. It's almost like the Pebble Beach concourse here in the US, but these drivers are actually moving their cars, which is even better.
It is a truly wonderful venue. You can see there those great cameras provided by Dougie Beard, the ocean just past here. It really is, as the name would suggest, an island. You are right next to the ocean. So as they make their way here, one of the more scenic circuits, certainly on the iRacing service and in the world at large. Coming down there through MG, one of my favorite corners of anywhere, downhill braking zone. Car picks up speed right as you come back up, rising in the hill, and then working your way here through turns 11 and 12, just trying to fly on by and down onto the main straight. This is a great little 1-2 battle. I think a lot of what you're going to be seeing during the race. There you see them tucking into that draft, trying to take advantage, darting out. Well, they would be if they weren't slowing down here. But just about a minute to go in qualifying before we jump into our 10-minute, 2-lap single-car qualifying set, and then our 40-lap heat race.
So I'm looking at the ocean. I'm wondering if anyone has ever ended up in the ocean in a race at Phillip Island, because we know people at Monaco have gone over the guardrail and ended up in the Mediterranean, but I don't think it's ever happened here.
I think there may just be a little bit of too much beach there in between it, but you never know. And maybe something we can research and one of our viewers can let us know. 30 seconds to go here in qualifying. Or in practice rather, that view down the main straightaway, just waiting for everybody to wrap up. Ian Bevan really turning in the quickest laps we've seen from him over the course of his last couple, so good for him to be up there. Very, very diverse look of cars in that top 10, pretty much everything across the board. Only a few drivers though, trying out the new BMW like we've talked about. A lot of folks coming in with the new Lamborghini, but a good mix of Audis and McLarens out there as well. Looks like only 2 Ferraris, 1 Ford, and I believe 2 BMWs, 1 Mercedes, as there is the checkered flag for the session, and we get ready to go qualifying.
It's a 10-minute, 2-lap lone qualifying, so they're not going to be racing each other on the track. They're just going to be racing themselves on the track. So we're going to wait to see who the first taker is. Doesn't look like anybody's out just yet. Oh, yes they are. Pete Mabrotten is going out on track, and I believe he's the first one.
Yes, he is. There you can see him taken to the track in that Audi, getting ready to go, lighted on up. It looks like a lot of the drivers are trying to go out early here, set laps as fast as they can. Mabrotten works his way around the southern loop and back up through Stoner, getting ready to line up for Honda corner. Joey, how do you think qualifying is going to play in? Obviously, you always want to start near the pointy end of the field, but we've seen some pretty decent attempts at passing during practice. It looks like it's going to be possible, certainly into Southern Loop, maybe a few gutsy overtakes into Honda and MG. Is pole position going to be king here, or is there room for maybe starting a little farther back in the field?
Well, it is a rolling start, so when you're on the front row, you'll pretty much have pretty equal footing to whoever's alongside you, whether you're first or second, but overtaking is not, but it's very possible around here. So if you're third, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever, you should still be pretty well off. As we see Kevin Wilkie is also on track. I saw him spin at the Southern Loop on cold tires, but he returned to the pits and got a fresh new car. We'll see how he does. He was 7th in practice. See how high he can take that Lamborghini.
As here comes Pete Mabrotten, ready to start his flying lap here. Just 8 minutes to go in qualifying. He works his way through the southern loop, feeding the power onto that car, figuring out the right time to get onto the loud pedal. Gets it off of the corner using all of the track there. Looks like a good couple of corner sequence from Mabrotten there. He, of course, is in one of those Audis, but this is a GT3 field, so a massive group there. And there you go, Joey. Kevin Wilkie, I think that 131's not exactly a representative time, as you mentioned. So we're going to stay here with Mabrotten, working his way up through Siberia. Ready to go. You can see him here lining up, getting ready to make that dive up through the Lukey Heights, diving down, getting the car straightened out, hard on the brakes into MG. Such a tricky corner to get right, but when you get it right, it feels fantastic. Power down, hard on through 11 and out around to 12. It feels like one long continuous corner when you're driving it. Stays off the inside curbing there, going to run the car a little bit wide, just barely touch that blue and white rumble strip on the outside. Power fully down, and Mabrotten across the line with the 27.194. That is going to be your fastest time. Wilkie and Price obviously setting a little bit of wonky times with some problems there. Ian Bevan, though, is going to line up in second, but Rebecca Pauline in the Mercedes jumps up to P1 right now with the 26.776.
McCarthy goes third, and Gurdiel Ferraro goes second. As lots and lots of laps are coming in, Danielson, Bankson, Rabbets, all coming to the line. Here's Ben Evs, the team captain. What will he be able to set? He will go P7, about the middle of the field.
And there goes Goldstein across the line. That's a 28. That's going to put him well down the order. We're seeing 26, mid to high 26s being the fast one. Cheyenne Daggett coming across the line. One of the 2 drivers in the Ferrari. That looks like there was a little bit of a thing. I think that may be an outlap for Cheyenne. So not a representative time there, but the top 5 right now currently holding at Pauline, Ferrero, McCarthy, Wilkie, and Meyer, with Mabrotten and Bevan on the outside looking in. There you see that Ferrari working its way around the track, trying to find something. Here comes Vaughn Roberts. Had a really good run last time out with a 27.173. That's going to put him up into 6th place. Here comes Mo Broughton trying to better his time. He does. That's going to move him up to 3rd. Good run from him. Atmaka comes across the line with a 26.910. That'll put him in, I believe, 3rd. Yes, it is 3rd place for Atmaka.
I'm thinking maybe there's a little bit of track evolution because the times they are a-changing. We just saw Ferrero cross the line, picking up a couple tenths, and Love crossed the line to pick up 3 whole tenths. So there's definitely some evolution on this track.
There is definitely evolution. There's Ben Ebbs improving his time, going up to 3rd. Van Dalen now crosses the line, unable to improve. He puts in a 28.225. Goldstein trying to cross again, improves to a 27.796. That's low down the order. Looking at this, Pauline really still staying true on that top time in the Mercedes. Looks like the McLarens and the Audis are where it's at. Daggett now going to try to cross the line well off the pace there with a 30.370. That's going to be good enough for 26th at the moment, so not good there. Dan Suzuki, the lone Ford driver, crosses the line in a 28.210. That's going to not be good for Suzuki. That's going to be 22nd. Vaughn Roberts, though, in the Audi, crosses the line here, 26.852. That's a good lap there for Vaughn Roberts, jumping him up to 4th place.
We saw Gellert there missing a nose. I don't know what happened there. Probably a brush with the wall. As here comes Teasters, making his debut for the night. Crossing the line, does he improve? Yes, he picks up 3 more tenths, jumps up to 22nd.
Ooh, looks like Love was going into the pits there, not satisfied with that time. Andrew Hopley, one of our 2 BMW drivers here today, gets a little bit wide on the exit there. That's going to cost just a minuscule amount of time, but crosses the line, unable to improve. I think running onto the grass there may have cost him. Here comes Atmaka. Currently, it's an outlap, never mind, coming back into the pits there, calling it a night and unsuccessfully getting into the pits. Jokova, currently 10th, crosses up. That's a slow down lap for her, it looks like, so that's not going to be a timed run, I believe.
And our winner from the last race, Chris Knox, I don't believe he's going to qualify. I think he's just going to start at the back for fun and have a little bit of an overtake fest here.
Nothing wrong with that, as long as they can avoid the first turn carnage. We ride on board with Drew Bickle here, driving that McLaren up the way through Siberia. Good camera angle here. You can see just how incredible this sequence of corners is. So you're flat out through this sweepers of 7 and 8. You come up here through Lukey Heights. You have to slowly apply the brakes a little bit just to get it there. Quick blast of power before you straighten out the car perfectly. Downhill braking zone. You got to be very careful on the brakes. It's easy to lock up there. Keep it nice and tight coming out of MG. Round these last corners. Is there going to be anything happening here for Bickle? 20 seconds crossing over. No, he's going to come into the pits. That's going to be night over for him.
Well, Drew Bickle is from Pennsylvania, and here in the great state of Pennsylvania, this entire state has been covered with a blanket of snow. It's like we've been iced like a cake. So if Drew Bickle's been on the streets these past couple days, he's got some experience slipping and sliding. So if the track's a little bit greasy, a little bit oily, a little bit cold at the start of this race, I'm looking at Drew Bickle to have an advantage, even though he is starting 24th.
It's certainly something to keep an eye on as we have just over a minute to go here. I think we've only got 1 car out on track, that being Atmaka. Working his way around. Atmaka obviously driving for Team Love in the McLaren. Looks like he is currently on an outlap, I believe, maybe trying to get one last good time in. Atmaka currently sits P5 with a 26.909. He is the second highest McLaren driver. Sergio Ferrero is the fastest with the 26.755. But once again, Rebecca Pauline, the one of 2 Mercedes drivers. Pauline currently on pole with the 26.696.
And in the top 5, I'd say the advantage is McLaren. They didn't get pole, but they got 2 cars in the top 5. So it's Mercedes, McLaren, BMW, Audi, McLaren, in the top 5.
And the most populated car is that Lamborghini, but the first one doesn't appear until P8. May work a little better in race trim, so we'll have to see what that does. Atmaka, for the record, has pulled into the pit, so everyone has set their fast laps. This is how we're going to grid up, and we're going to run you through it right here and right now. Starting off in pole, like we said, is Rebecca Pauline. To the outside of her will be Sergio Gardel Ferrero, followed by Tyson Meyer and Nick Vaughn Roberts in 3rd and 4th. Row 3 is going to be Mikhail Atmaka and Peter Mabrutten, followed by Spencer McCarthy and Kevin Wilkie. Behind them in 9th will be Ian Bevan and Gabriela Jokova in 10th place.
Then down on row 6 in 11th, we will have Love Lyubov Orzetskovskaya next to Magnus Danielsson of Sweden in P12. Then Roger Hooker, we saw him up front in the last race. Will he be able to make his way up front today in the Lamborghini? Then it's Andrew Hopley, one of our BMW takers. Van Evs in the Audi, Mark Van Dalen in the Lamborghini. Jeffrey Decker, 2nd place last time, now in 17th in the Lamborghini. Then Zach Price making his debut for tonight in the Lamborghini. And James Goldstein and Magnus Benson also in Lamborghinis.
Hassan Gellert's going to be lining up in 21st, followed by Niels Testers in 22nd. Dan Suzuki, our lone Ford driver, going to be 23rd, followed by Drew Bickle in 24th. Annie Rabbets, this event's organizer, is starting down a lowly 25th. She'll be looking to work her way up the field, and I think she's got a good chance to. Cheyenne Daggett in 26th, followed by 27th being Andy Morell. Jessica Myers in 28th, and rounding out your last row, Chris Knox and Andrea Benetti. That is your starting grid, a good mix of cars all the way around, and what promises to be a great race at Phillip Island. The Porsche pace car is underway, and when they cross the line next time by, it's time to go racing.
This is going to be the race to end all races, I think. This is going to be very exciting, if you ask me.
I think you're right, as the drivers are just getting some last-minute instructions. And once again, all of these drivers racing for charity. You want links to help donate to those charities, jump on over, check out our link description. Check out the links in our description on the YouTube channel, or jump over to our YouTube chat. You can see all the links as well. These are all charities that are very near and dear to our drivers' hearts. That is what we are trying to do here today. 2020 has been a very tough year for people and animals, to quote the event's organizers, Annie Rabbits. So please do what you can, help give to these charities and raise some money for some great causes. But right now, everybody's starting to line up. Game on here. Rebecca Pauline, one of only 2 Mercedes drivers in the entire field. She starts in P1, followed by Sergio Ferrero. That's going to be a good mix. That McLaren looking to make the jump. Tyson Meyer in that new BMW. That's going to be interesting to watch. Not a lot of race experience with that car. How will it perform? All questions we're going to have answered here as they work their way through MG Corner right now, getting ready to take the green.
It's definitely a longer paced lap here than it was at USA, but we'll get there eventually as we go over the hill at a brisk 50 miles per hour. Pauline will start first, but she will have Sergio right alongside her at the start, and Tyson Meyer in 3rd will be all over the back. It'll be very interesting to see if we can make it through cleanly. We are approaching the line momentarily.
Porsche pace car pulls off to the side. The field is now in the hands of Rebecca Pauline. Ferrero lining up alongside everybody, looking nice and clean. Double file as Pauline gets on the loud pedal, and we are racing here at Phillip Island. Meyer gets a great start to jump past Ferrero. That BMW really proving its worth here. Starting to get on to the draft mode here. Lightly onto the brakes through Dewan. Everybody looks nice and clean. It is Pauline from Meyer. We've got a car spinning off. I'm not sure who that was exactly, but the top 3 remain McCarthy, Pauline, and Meyer. It's Pauline, Meyer, and Ferrero as they work their way through Southern Loop nice and clean.
A very good start from the inside line, not the best start from the outside line. Third place has been advanced to second, and first place stays first. But as we go through Honda corner, Meyer trying to close the gap, but Pauline is not giving up any track position.
And Meyer under heavy attack here, working their way through Siberia from Ferrero. He thought about making a move down into Honda, but nothing happening there. I think there's a chance if Ferrero can get the gas right here, he may try to make a move in MG. Looks like he's about two and a half car lengths back, trying to make something happen. Behind them, everyone is very single file. They dive down the hill, going into MG. Ferrero thought about it for a minute, goes into line. Meyer takes a thinner, narrower line out of the corner. Looks like he had a better corner exit there than Pauline. He may be able to take advantage of the draft here. This is the first time we're going to be able to see what that draft can do going down the main straight.
And unfortunately, I believe we've lost Spencer McCarthy on lap 1, and Shine Daggett has run into trouble as well, as has Wilkie. But up front, Pauline seems to be streaking away just a little bit. The gap is about 4.6 tenths of a second. So the gap is not large necessarily, but Meyer's just a little bit too far back to go for an overtake.
But he's really starting to gain in at the end of those long straights. That BMW clearly has some good frontline speed. He's closer than he's been now. He looks to the outside. He's going to try to make a move to the outside around Honda corner. It's a straight drag race. Pauline later on the brakes. Meyer goes for the over-under, but it looks like Pauline has got it unless Meyer can get a better escape off the line. No, Pauline holds the line, keeps it 1-2 through Siberia, but Meyer very close once again. He may try to make a look here into MG. Meyer really making that BMW work quite well in the opening stages.
That is some fantastisch driving from Rebecca Pauline. Great defense preventing the over-under through Honda corner, but Meyer is not going away. So we go down into turn 11. He's going to send it a little bit later on the brakes, but he's got to back off just a little bit so he doesn't bang that bumper off.
And good works there from Pauline down into MG, just breaking that car a little bit unexpectedly, trying to slow down Meyer, making him second guess himself as he gets onto the throttle. That gives her a little bit of an advantage, but Meyer, once again, very up close in the draft, only about a car and a half between the two of them, but Meyer gaining very, very quickly. They go into Dewan. Meyer jinks out to the inside. He's got the inside line through Dewan, but Pauline says, I'm not giving it to you that easy. Keeps the momentum on the outside, takes back the lead going in through Southern Loop. Great driving there from our leaders. Sergio Gardel Ferrero looking on very, very closely and intently, about 2 car lengths back from Tyson Meyer. This top 3 very, very close. Behind them, to give you a quick rundown, it's Pauline, Meyer, Ferrero, Vaughn, Roberts, Mabrutin, Atmaka, Jokova, Love, Hopley, and Hooker, your top 10. Everybody stays in single file order through Honda Center. They work their way up to Siberia. Meyer may take a look again, but I think Ferrero is right close now.
You could not fit an Australian flag in between Pauline and Meyer's cars at turn 1. They were so close, and luckily, once again, Netco didn't come into it, but that was phenomenal defense on the outside by Pauline, and Meyer still second. He's going to start getting a little bit frustrated momentarily.
He will, but it's a 40-lap race, and we're only 4 minutes in. He now takes a little bit of a different entrance through MG, trying to work his way through there. But it looks like now the advantage may be to Ferrero as they make their way through these final corners of 11 and 12. He's closer behind than he has been. Just checking in on the rest of the back of the field, that top 10 order has stayed relatively the same. Not a lot of movement whatsoever, a lot of single file throughout the field. So we're going to keep talking you through these top 3 as this is the best battle on track. Meyer got a really good run through Dewan. Everybody starts to slow down now through the Southern Loop, working their way back up and headed into Honda. I think there that it looked like Ferrero took a different line, not really working for him. There's about 0.3 of a second in between each of these drivers.
Meyer got a little bit wide out of the Southern Loop. He's got to pull it back, bring it back together, and get on the back of Pauline. He was almost able to make the move into Dewan a couple laps ago, and he needs to replicate that because I think that's where he's going to be able to make the move.
I think it is too. We talked about at the beginning of the race, the 2 best overtaking opportunities probably going into Honda are going through the Southern Loop. But right now, they are slowly but surely coming their way back up through the Lukey Heights. Pauline continues to lead, but now this whole battle has allowed for Nick Von Roberts to catch back up. There is only about 0.2 of a second separating each car between 1, 2, 3, and 4. Second and a half over the top of all of them. Ferrero, though, has a really good run out of turn 11 and through turn 12. He's going to tuck up right behind the draft of Tyson Meyer. Can Ferrero do anything here? He may not have the top line speed. We've seen that BMW be very, very quick in a straight line. Meyer goes a little bit of defensiveness through the Dewan corner. He's able to hold off any attack from Ferrero. Ferrero's McLaren spitting fire out the back. One of the best parts about watching that car. Able to close up during braking. Meyer tries to get on the power a little bit early here, but Ferrero right behind. Joey, I think this may be now or never time for Ferrero.
Absolutely, he needs to take advantage. Could we see a dive into Honda corner here? No. Ferrero must think it's too early to be making such a decisive move. But Meyer did fall back from Pauline on that lap, and the gap between second and third is much closer than the gap between first and second. And Nick Von Roberts, he's not quite as close as Ferrero is to Meyer, but he is definitely fixing to join this battle.
And Pete Mabrotten right behind them also coming in. He's about 1.3 seconds back of Nick Von Roberts. And that is the top 5, really. They are in a league of their own. 6th place, Gabriela Jokova, all the way back, 4.4 seconds behind Mabrotten. So these top 5, this is really the battle as Meyer locks it up. Meyer, I couldn't tell if there was contact there or what exactly happened, but he has spun around coming through turns 11 and 12. He's going to fall well down the order.
Meyer just clipped the ground on the outside of that blue and white curb, and he went around. Second place is going to become 9th place now. And how much time do we have left? We got 29 minutes left. Meyer is going to have to go for an absolute overtake fest here if he wants to make his way back up, as Goldstein trying to go to the inside to take 10th, or take 9th from Meyer. But Meyer, for now, will hold on to 9th place.
Meyer, of course, one of the team leaders driving for Team Quikitized. That is his Twitch handle. But what that is allowed to happen up front is now it is up to Sergio Gurdiel Ferrero to try to close into Rebecca Pauline, see if he can make anything happen. He's closed that gap down to under half a second in front. Behind him, Nick Von Roberts right up behind, and Pete Mabrotten coming in as well. There's about a 2-second gap over covering all of those top 4, but the top 3 starting to pull away a little bit. Gabriela Jokova still a long ways back, but Love really working her way up the field. She is up 5 spots along with Jokova. James Goldstein, though, the gentleman that we talked about, as we have picture back up there, you can see it. This is our top 3. That is Pauline, Ferrero, and Roberts really putting on a good show here at Phillip Island.
But the fastest driver on track is Pete Mabrotten, even if it is only by about 0.06 of a second. In 4th place, that gap is coming down. And we're back to a 3-car battle, but it might just become a 4-car battle once again.
It might, but here's where this is going to get interesting. Looking up the road, Zach Price, who looked like he had a little bit of problem that he ran into, came in early into the pits. He is a lapped car that is about 3.5 seconds up the road of this P1 battle. So as we watch here, Ferrero very close, jinx to the outside. Pauline goes defensive, holds the line. Ferrero going to try for an over-under. Can he get the power down early enough to make it work? He cannot. He's forced to tuck back in the line, but still close enough to beat pressure on Pauline as they make their way through Siberia, pounding up the hill as Pauline able to get onto the gas a little bit earlier, pull away just slightly from Ferrero.
But Ferrero is still there very much, and he is closing as we sweep through these uphill corners. Will he be close enough for a dive into turn 11? No. But we're going to come to the start-finish straight momentarily, and I think the draft will be powerful enough for Ferrero to finally make a move.
It just might be. You can barely see it there. Those differing lines everybody's taken through MG really affects everything and keeps it nice and easy together. By the way, Pete Mabrotten on that last lap was the fastest car on track, but he is still about 1.6 seconds back of this leading pack. That there you see they go through Dewan. Can Ferrero make a move here? No, he's going to be way too far back. These guys relatively content to just stay in single file order as they go. But there comes Ferrero trying to get a good run. Is he able to take full advantage of the draft here going into Honda? Looks a little far back, full on the power. We ride on board. Does he go for a last minute maneuver? No, breaks a little bit early, trying to be smart here. Tries to get on the power early. There you can see the acceleration of Pauline. Oh, a little wiggle there from Pauline. That's going to allow Ferrero to claw his way back forward.
I think it's a little bit too early for a dive bomb into Honda like that. But as we continue on through the race, we will see the drivers get a little bit more aggressive, and we might start seeing moves that are a little bit more decisive.
We certainly will. We're going to jump back here to P6. This is Love and Andrew Hopley. Hopley in that red car, Love back in that dark car. Who on board with Love? You can see she's got to check up there a little bit as they work their way through Wilkie Heights. Is this a move into MG? No. Oh, she's going to think about it. Show her nose to the inside of Hopley. Just try to fake him out a little bit. Hopley, one of the two drivers in that new BMW. As right ahead of them, that is Jokova. This is really, really a good battle. This is one of the closest we have on track. Love trying to tuck up into that draft of that BMW M4. Can she get the slipstream and make it work into doing? Here we go.
It's going to be difficult, and I don't think she's quite close enough. They're going to continue to go single file. That BMW, it's a new car, but it seems to be hanging on the pace here as Ferrero is side by side with Pauline going through Stoner Corner on the outside.
And here we go, Pauline on the preferred line on the inside. Looks like Ferrero's going to have to back off a little bit. That's going to cause Vaughn Roberts to do so as well. But good exit there off of Honda once again from Pauline. That is really proving to be her saving grace as they continue to go side by side. Nobody able to get past it, looks like, in Honda. Just not the way you want to get around, is that inside line able to carry too much speed.
Ferrero just needs to replicate what he did there and just brake a little bit later. Maybe get a different kind of exit through the last corner, because he has not been able to take advantage of the draft on the front straight these past couple laps, and that seems to be the best place to make an overtake.
We're going to jump back to that P5 battle as Andrew Hopley has caught up to Gabriela Jokova. Love trying to make a couple of moves to the inside on that previous lap. Nothing panning out. I'm really starting to think, though, that McLaren's suffering from a little bit of a straight line speed deficit, as we have been unable to see any sort of move getting made. But I'll tell you who's not suffering from a straight line speed deficit, and that is Andrew Hopley, who had a great run, but he's got to check up a little bit. That in turn causes Love to check up, but here he comes into the southern loop. No, backs off a little bit of Jokova. Going to keep it nice and easy, but he's got a better run off the corner. Jokova, great move. Just a little bit of a pincer to pinch him down. That's going to allow for Love to now try to take a look into Honda. We've got another tight battle here.
The leaders have just piled up. Ferrero just dumped Pauline accidentally, and Vaughn Roberts was involved as well. I'm not sure if he's taken the lead or Pete Mabrutten came through.
There you can see the leaders rejoining. If we can, we'd love to jump back to a replay to see that little schmozzle happen out. We're going to do it right here. Joey, talk us through it.
It was more of a big schmozzle, if you ask me. We're a little bit early here, but we saw Ferrero a little bit late on the brakes. Pauline tried to defend the inside, got a little bit deep. Ferrero sends it in, and just a little bit too early on the throttle, a little bit of a tap. And that was the end of that three-car battle.
Disappointment there for our leaders, who are putting on such a good show for us. There you can see it. They're making their way through. This is Pauline in the pits trying to get some repairs done to that car to fix everything up. But we're going to jump to P3 because that battle between Jokova and Hopley has turned in from a battle from P5 all the way to a battle for a podium position. Hopley backing off of Jokova a little bit. Discretion, the better part of valor. Once again, we saw that on that last lap, that tight line that Jokova is able to cut off any escape off of the corner from them. Behind them, that is Love and Ferrero in the 2 McLarens. Those two are teammates. Ahead of them, Roberts and McBroughton, that is 1-2, but this is the best battle. You see the alternate line from Hopley, trying to go in, has to check up, big time to prevent from running into the back of Jokova. Jokova able to keep the lead here through Siberia. Maybe it's time for that dive bomb into MG, Joey.
Hopley has been very early on the throttle through the corners, and he's had to slam on the brakes to not hit the back of Jilkova and replicate what happened to Pauline. But he needs to, I think, retime his throttle application so he doesn't have to slam on the brakes and lose all his momentum, because I think he's pretty clearly faster here.
He very much is, and this is the point that I'm starting to think very strategically about how to make that pass. If I'm Andrew Hopley, I may try to fake out Jilkova a little bit, act like I'm going to go with that line that I have been, that tight line through the southern loop, and then suddenly jink out and make something different happen to try to get it on. They pile back out onto the main straight here. Now these guys are about 9 seconds back of your leaders. That's Vaughn Roberts and McBroughton, as they are really in the class of their own here today. But this is it. Jokova coming in very late on the brakes there for Hopley. Doing there, doesn't have to do it. He had to check up. We're going to jump back here to Wilkie. There was a battle here, but it looks like Wilkie's been able to keep himself going nice and easy. So not a lot doing there, unfortunately.
But the battle for third continues. Hopley all over the back once again. Wasn't as close that time, but he just needs to time.
We've got a problem.
Perfect.
Nick Vaughn Roberts is off. Sorry to cut you off there, Joey. Nick Vaughn Roberts is spun coming through. There you see him. We're going to go to a quick replay here to see what happened. This is him going on. That's McBroughton behind him coming off of Siberia, gets it onto the grass, spins it around. Looks like he's able to relatively keep it off the wall, so no major damage there. And now if we jump back to real time, he is right in the thick of this battle for P3. Hopley able to be ahead of Vaughn Roberts, but now this is Jokova, Hopley, Roberts, Ferrero, and Love. Throw a blanket over him, but I think that's Vaughn Roberts going to come into the pits here.
Yep, he slammed the inside dirt wall a little bit. Too much damage to continue, he thinks. He's not going to be happy with himself. When you take yourself out of the lead of the race by a silly mistake like that, you're yelling at yourself in the helmet. He's going to be going, "You bloody drongo, you larrigan." But up front, Pete McBroughton has an 8.5 second lead now. We were talking about how he was 8.5 seconds off the lead. He's now 8.5 seconds in the lead.
And there is McBroughton. Really just has to focus in, minimize mistakes, do everything very well here, working his way around some lap traffic. Once again, you said about that 8.5 second advantage now, but this is back to Love. This is where the battle is. And I'm sorry, who's that car directly ahead of him? Oh, my friends, that is Mr. Tyson Meyer working his way back up from that kerfluffle early on. He is currently sat in P5 and trying to fight his way now up to Sergio Ferrero, Andrew Hopley, and Gabriela Jokova right ahead of him.
Jokova is a little bit of a backstop here. The train is increasing, and Hopley needs to figure out how to get by, because I think Hopley may have the pace to be able to catch McBroughton with 21 minutes to go. But with every lap that passes by, Hopley is losing time to be able to catch the leader.
He is. McBroughton really just controlling the pace of this race. Jokova able to take about 2/10 out of him on that last lap, but that 8-second advantage proving to be mega right now. Everybody's staying relatively cool and contained here for the moment as they make their way around here, down around the corners, lining up for Honda. I don't think anybody's going to try anything too aggressive here, but this is the good battle on track.
And we're going to start to see a little bit of a draft train on the front straight. So if you're like fourth or third, the drivers in front of you are getting the draft from each other, the drivers behind you are getting the draft from each other. So the draft is pretty much nullified because everyone's getting the same exact draft.
They are indeed. The only odd woman out there going to be Gabriela Jokova in second, the leader of this little train. I think you hit the nail on the head, Joey, that this is very much... Oh, here comes Ferrero to the inside of Hopley. He's able to make it work, but has to go on the grass. That's going to cost him time. Tyson Meyer able to now move up right behind Hopley. Great run off the corner. Hopley gets a little squiggly. Meyer goes in, and there goes Hopley and I believe Ferrero into the pits. Now these guys... not Meyer, excuse me. That was Hopley. It was Hopley and Ferrero into the pits there. And here they are coming into the pits. These guys do have to make a fuel stop over the course of this race, so that is what you are seeing. This is planned service.
I was going to say, the contact didn't look that bad to need a pit stop, but I guess they just took advantage of the time they got to come in and get some fuel and maybe get an advantage on some of the drivers that have track position with some strategy.
We're going to jump back to P5 here. This is Roger Hooker and James Goldstein. They are in a fierce battle. Goldstein, by the way, is your biggest mover of the race, up 13 positions from his start. Oh, here he comes. Late move into Honda. Backs off a little bit. I don't know if he actually thought he was going to pull that off or if that was just a little bit of a mind game he was playing on Hooker there. But either way, very aggressive driving here from James and very fun to watch.
I think that was a little bit of a fake out. I don't think he had any intent to send it back from about 5 car lengths, but it worked out a little bit for him because he is definitely catching Hooker here for 5th place as they go up the hill. Will he try and scare him the same way into turn 11? No, he's going to go for the switchback and try and close that gap through the last 2 corners and coming onto the front straight.
And as there you see Hooker diving into the pits, we're going to jump back to a great battle in P11. This is Wilkie, Vaughn Roberts, Ferrero, and Hopley way in the back there. This all being led. Oh, there's a dump there. That is Wilkie into the back, getting hit out. Lots of contact there. The 20 of Ferrero by Vaughn Roberts now leading this pack. Ben Ebbs ahead of them. But Wilkie looks like he got into the back of Decker, I believe. That sent everybody just a little bit of damage. As now it's a straight drag race. Oh, this is going to get good. This is Vaughn Roberts, Ebbs, and Ferrero. 3 wide almost coming down the main straightaway.
Flashing the lights always works in the daytime. Sweeping around the outside. Is Ferrero going to be able to make that stick? Yes, he is.
So Ferrero on very good pace here, obviously having already come in to get his service, but Vaughn Roberts close enough to think about making a move into Honda if he wants it. He's got a good run down. He's going to think about making the move. No, he decides to check back up. Everyone stays in single file through here. Vaughn Roberts able to get a little bit of a better angle off the corner, a little bit tighter, just trying to put that pressure to Ferrero. These guys are well back of the 7th place car of Matthias Bensington. Jokova, by the way, into the pits. We're going to stay on this battle, see if anything crazy happens into MG.
I think they're a little bit too far back to make anything happen there, but Vaughn Roberts does seem to have a little bit more pace on these cold tires. And back to Jokova in the pits taking her service.
Yeah, that's Gabi taking the service as well. You can see her just waiting. There she goes. No tires, obviously, only fuel, as you want to get in and out as fast as possible. She is currently looking like she's going to be coming out in 6th place right around this battle, as a matter of fact. There she is. There's that battle we have been following. I think she's going to be out ahead of it. Yes, she is. And so that's a good pit stop for her. That puts her P6. She is the current highest driver that has done service thus far. So good for her. 41-second gap to 41-second delta in the pits, however. And Broughton has a very, very large lead, though, on her. So not sure if it's going to be able to play out, but we'll have to see.
Pete is waiting for an awfully long time to actually pit. When do you think the last possible moment for him to pit will be? How long can he take this?
Well, if my numbers are right, gotta think that about the 10-minute mark is gonna be the last point, unless they have found some sort of Alexander Rossi-like right foot where they can save fuel left, right, and center. But we watch here, they're working their way down, trying to find anything. This is Gabi on your screen, currently P6. That is Ferrero just behind her. So nobody looking like they're peeling in quite yet. Although I have to say, I would think Ben Evs is one that needs to. It looks like he had a little bit of damage to that rear wing from at least on my screen. Not sure if that is still in effect. Yep, there it is. There is that damage to Ben Ev's car as he comes into the pits. Now remember, these guys have 2 faster pairs during the course of this race, so that'll get hammered out nice and easy. Bing! There it is. Just like that as Evs takes fuel and gets ready to go. That is Kevin Wilkie right ahead of him. We pick up the leader here of Pima Broughton as he works his way around the track, coming by some lapped cars there, working his way around. Looks like he's not going to make the move into the pit lane on this lap. The top 5 have not pitted yet. Just as of note, that is Broughton, Meyer, Love, Atmaka, and Bengtson as they watch here. Broughton making his way down the start-finish straight.
I just noticed Broughton's helmet. I think he thinks it's the wrong holiday. It's not Halloween anymore, man. You got to update your helmet. But maybe he doesn't. He's in the lead. So maybe the mixed up holidays is helping him out here, as I believe Tyson Meyer either came to the pits or spun. I think it was the pit one, rather.
Yeah, Meyer, Bengtson, and Atmaka all in the pits here. You can see them there all in your screen. That is Meyer. Ooh, I think that may have been Bengtson missed his pit box back there, so that's going to hurt him. Meyer there in the front of your screen. Who's going to be able to make it by? It looks like Jokova, Ferrero, Vaughn Roberts, all able to make it by. Meyer there with a very, very, very long pit stop. So something may be wrong with him. He's been stationary for about 50 seconds. Not sure what's going on there. But Broughton and Love, who have not pitted quite yet. This is Ferrero on your screen.
I'm thinking maybe Meyer got a little bit of damage from the contact earlier, or the spin earlier. So that may be why he's spending a little bit more time in the pits. But right now we're looking at Love in second place, 10 seconds off the leader. These are the last 2 cars who have not pitted yet. Is she going to come in this time? Yes.
As is Broughton. So the leaders both coming into the pits here. Now this is going to be to see how fast Jokova can make it around and if she can challenge Broughton whatsoever. She is currently working her way up through the Lukey Heights in turn 9. That is a long, long, long way back. Here you see that is Love coming to a rest in her pit stall. Broughton looks like he is underway again here, so I think he's going to be able to come out into the lead very, very comfortably. Love out in a way. The battle now going to be between her. Yep, there is Broughton going around. Very, very fast pit for him. We're on with Gabi as she blows by Love down the main straight. Love comes out in P4. Her teammate Ferrero right in the middle there, chasing down Gabi Jokova.
And Broughton with that overcut strategy, it's worked out for him. He's picked up 5 or 6 seconds with those laps, even with a 1 second faster lap, and someone just spun in front of Love.
That was Love who spun out, I believe.
No, Love is still going. That's an Audi,
Vaughn
I think.
Roberts. It's Vaughn Roberts. Vaughn Roberts spinning out. Thank you for that catch. There we go. We're going to check back on replay on this.
I believe this was just, cold-ish tires and just getting on the throttle a little bit too much. He didn't even touch the grass. That was just very unfortunate spin for Nick Vaughn Roberts. He was having a very good recovery in 5th. Remember, he was once battling for the lead, but unfortunately, I think his hopes of winning this race are even more over than they were before.
I think you're right, and Joey, you are very prescient. You talked about how tricky these GT3s are on cold tires. Looks like it's catching out Nick Vaughn Roberts right there as he is now currently trying to work his way past Matthias Bengtson. So that demotes him all the way down to P9. Very unfortunate run from him. But at the front here, the pointy end, Jokova currently sitting second, Ferrero right behind her in P3. That's a good battle, but we're going to stay here as it looks like Vaughn Roberts trying to get something, anything on that Lamborghini, the Audi in a draft, trying to get something. Is he going to dive out to the inside? Thinks about it. Yes, he does. Late move on the inside. He's going to have the line through. Oh, a little bit of door banging. They come together, and that is Bensington getting spun around a little bit off into the grass and move Vaughn Roberts up a position.
Very unfortunate, and that's one of the things that can happen when you're racing so close into that corner. Vaughn Roberts goes to the inside. Bengtson probably thinks, what are you doing into doing? And that is the end product. Very unfortunate, but luckily he didn't hit the wall, so he should be fine.
And up front in P2 and 3, Gabriela Jokova has had an off coming into Siberia. That moves Love up to second, and Love's teammate Ferrero right behind her, with Andrew Hopley looking to make a move here as well. So heartbreak there for Jokova, who had been putting in a very, very good race. That Audi coming off track through Siberia, but now she's just got to fight on for this podium position with Ferrero close behind with 8.5 minutes to go here at Phillip Island.
As they come across the line, we're going to see what the gap is between Mo Broughton. It's 10.6 seconds. So with 8 minutes and about 20 seconds left, I don't think that gap is going to close unless Pete makes a mistake. But we do still have an intense battle for third here. Jokova has been very good at defense throughout this entire race, but can she hold this third until the end?
She's been very good at defense, and we've frankly seen a little bit of struggle from those McLarens and straight line speed, not able to capitalize on the draft down the back straight, or down the front straight rather. But Ferrero looks like he's got a good run here. Jokova jinks to the inside, taking a defensive line through Honda corner, but that's going to cost her a little bit at exit. Ferrero really able to keep right nice and close. Here they go, the flames coming out the back of that McLaren. Oh, it's such a beautiful sight. They come their way up through 7 and 8 and up through the Lukey Heights. Can he make a move? He's about 3 car lengths back right now. I think that's too far back, and it's too early in the race, but oh, big check up there through Lukey for Ferrero. He may have had a move, but he was forced to check up. Jokova taking a defensive line again. Ferrero trying to find something, anything, to get some moves down here, going off through 11 and into 12. Can he capitalize on that straight? We shall see.
Coming through the last corner, it's a pretty similar line for both of them. Ferrero mistimed his move through 11, but can he take advantage of the outside line through Dewan and maybe send it through the loop? Oh, it's a great run through Dewan, but I don't think he's going to be able to make the move just yet.
He's not. We'll have to see what they do. We're going to stay right here. Oh, taking an inside line through the southern loop. But Jokova says, I know exactly what you're trying to do, son, and shuts the door to that very, very quickly. So good moves from her. That's going to really, really block it. But we're going to jump back here to Ian Bevan and Dan Suzuki. This is a battle for 9th. That is Bevan up ahead. That is Suzuki ahead, rather, in that Ford GT as Bevan goes wide off the southern loop, tries to keep the power in it, but that's going to effectively kill that battle. Unfortunately, Bevan was on for a good run there. That is Matthias Bengtson making his way past now.
Dan Suzuki in that ancient Ford GT seems to be holding on well. He's gone from 23rd to 9th, and he has made his pit stop. So that's a pretty remarkable drive from Suzuki, if you ask me.
Very, very good run from Suzuki. That's an old car, but Dan clearly knows it well. Enjoying driving it here at Phillip Island. So he is going to stay in P9, about 4.8 seconds up the road is the next guy, but we're going to jump back one spot. This is Bevan and Bengtson, both in identical Lamborghinis, both part of Team Quikitized. Once again, if you want links to Cork or any of the other charities that these folks are racing for, check in the description, as that is diving into the pits there. Ian Bevan, he needed to stop still. He needed to stop. So that's what that is.
He waited until the last possible moment. Maybe he was thinking he could make it to the end, but he couldn't. As here is the battle for third place once again. Zilkova and Sergio Herdiel Ferrero cannot get away from each other. But Ferrero cannot seem to make the move, though.
No, he can't. This is a theme we've seen all day from those McLarens. They are just unable to close in the draft. He's super, super close here behind Zilkova, but Zilkova knows exactly how to position that car. Good run here for Ferrero up through Lukey Heights. He doesn't have to back off like we saw him do the last couple of times, but not close enough to make a move. There those flames once again. Dives through MG, trying to find something, anything. Good run there off of turn 11. He may have a chance. This is the closest we've seen him come down onto the main straight yet.
Rides the curb on the inside. It sends him a little bit wide, but he is closer than he's been by, I'd say, a car length or two. Not going to be close enough to send it through Doohan. But if he times this right, he might be a little bit closer into the southern loop. He's so much faster through this fast corner. But Zilkova blocks the inside, and there's a car on the outside, a lapped car, so that's going to prevent any kind of move again. This is going to be extremely frustrating for Sergio.
It is. Looks like he had to get out of the throttle ever so slightly there, but hits it just right. Closing in into Honda. Can he make the move? No, I don't think he is. Zilkova about a half a car's width to the right. This is going to continue to be a bit. Did he just get by him? Am I crazy? Did he make the move?
Yep. Zilkova outbraked herself into the corner, and Ferrero swept through easy as anything.
And so here you go. You said it yourself there, Joey. Zilkova outbrakes herself. Ferrero says, thank you very much. I will take that position. And finally, just like that, that McLaren able to get by. And now the question is will Zilkova be able to fight back? I thought for sure she was going to run into the back of Ferrero there. But Ferrero able to get a good run out of MG. 2 minutes, 45 seconds here to go at Phillip Island. They're continuing the battle on here.
This is a little bit of a role reversal. Zilkova's been on defense this entire race, and for the first time, she's now on offense. And the opposite's true for Sergio. But that Zilkova car is so much faster in a straight line. But Ferrero does have that advantage through the corner again. We'll see if Zilkova can catch back up, or if Ferrero will finally be able to pull away. Zilkova goes very wide. Just barely stays off the white line. I think Ferrero's got this.
I think he does too. Let's jump you back to another good battle here. A couple of places behind them. This is the 5th and 6th place battle with James Goldstein and Nick Von Roberts. Von Roberts in that Audi, that green Audi, driving for Team Samaritan, trying to get something happening here. He looks to the outside, coming into Honda, both onto the brakes. Goldstein in the preferred line, but goes for the over-under. Is Von Roberts. Can he make it work? He's got a little bit of a run here, but Goldstein closes the door into Siberia. Von Roberts takes a wide line, trying to maximize speed at the corner exit. Joey, I think he's going to try to make a move here. Going through Lukey Heights, dives to the inside. Can he make it work? He's got the line. There, he's got it, but this may not be over till MG.
This is not a place you normally overtake, and I think it's working out a little bit for him, but the Lamborghini is not giving up. Steers in a little bit too early there, and that's a spun car. Is that Ferrero, or is that Love?
No, that's Cheyenne Daggett, I believe. Lapped car who's going to fall back. We're going to stay with this battle. Very, very close. Von Roberts able to hold the advantage coming out of MG, but they're going to follow down here. Does that Lamborghini have the ability to take advantage of the draft? We are under a minute here to go at Phillip Island. It's now or never times for James Goldstein if he wants to get a top 5.
Through the corner. No, he gets on the dirt a little bit. Did not take advantage of that entirely, but Von Roberts went very deep there. So any kind of advantage Von Roberts could have got, never mind. It's back. That was a very messy sequence of corners from both drivers, and Von Roberts ended up coming out on top.
We're going to jump back up to Pete Mabrotten here. It's going to be close to see if he crosses the line to get the white or the checkered flag. We're not entirely sure, but we're going to stay on him if we do indeed get that checkered. Mabrotten working his way through turn 11, coming out. left-hander here, coming and working his way through some lap traffic. This is it. He is going to get the final. Here we go. Mabrotten crosses the line to take the checkered flag. Pete Mabrotten wins here at Phillip Island.
Coming to the line in second place. It's been a little bit of a dramatic race, but she's kept her nose clean. Lyubov Ozretskovskaya, formerly of Kazakhstan, now of Moscow, Russia. A fantastic second place finish.
And that's going to be Sergio Ferrero in third, Gabriela Jokova in fourth, Nick Von Roberts crossing the line in P5, Goldstein and Hopley behind him, 6th and 7th. We're waiting for Roger Hooker there. He goes across the line for Team Samaritan. Dan Suzuki, our lone Ford GT driver, going to cross the line in P9. Magus Danielson coming over, one of the others in the Mercedes. Here comes Ben Evs in 11th place. Drew Bickle now coming across for P12, I believe that's correct. Matthias Bensington there. Hassan Gellert also crossing the line there in 14th place, as Ian Bevan here has been in a decent battle with a couple of guys behind him. Mikel Atmatka looks like he may be out of fuel or something there. Andy Rabbits, yeah, Atmatka's out of fuel, so a little bit of drama crossing the line. He's going to continue to fall down the order. Meyer coming across the line in P18 there for Meyer. Here comes Jeffrey Decker, some of the last cars to finish. Atmaka weaving, trying to get any last burst of speed to get out of that car, and he barely crosses it. There you go, Mikel. Great run there, able to hold on to P18.
The speed at the line was 10 miles per hour. I think you can walk faster than that.
I think you can indeed. We're going to run you through the official finishing order here at Phillip Island. We didn't see a whole lot of him today because he dominated, but Pete Mabrotten comes home in P1. Love there in P2 after a very, very chaotic race. Sergio Ferrero in third. Gabi Jokova fourth. Nick Von Roberts in fifth. James Goldstein unable to get back that position from Nick Von Roberts will come home sixth. Andrew Hopley, one of the drivers in that new BMW, in seventh. Roger Hooker eighth. Dan Suzuki, our lone GT driver, came home ninth. And Magus Danielson came home 10th.
And down in 11th was Ben Evs, a little bit of an anonymous race from him, and 12th place was the Pennsylvanian Drew Bickle. 13th in the 13 car, Matthias Bengtson. 14th went to Hassan Gellert. 15th was Ian Bevan. The home hero had to take 2 pit stops and fell down the order. 16th was our gracious host, Annie Rabbits. 17th, Tyson Meyer, once fighting for second. 18th, Mikhail Atmaka, finishing at walking speed. 19th, Jeffrey Decker, and 20th was Jessica Myers, who got a little bit punted at turn 11.
In 21st was Kevin Wilkie, followed by Mark Van Dalen. Andrea Benetti was 23rd, followed by Cheyenne Daggett. These cars are some of the ones that finished heavily down or did not finish at all. Zach Price, Andy Morell, Rebecca Pauline, Niels Tester, Chris Knox, and Spencer McCarthy rounding out your finishing order here today at Phillip Island. Now, folks, this is going to conclude the GSRC portion of today's broadcast. But if you want to continue to watch, jump over and check out those links in our YouTube chat. You can check out the Twitch multi-stream where you can be checking in on all of these drivers as they run the final race. This is very special, guys. It is a 5-lap sprint race at Virginia International Raceway, the Grand West Circuit, but nobody knows what car they're running, so there's no way they could practice for any of it. It is sure to be a good time. But as I say, we've got to step away here. So thank you all so much for joining GSRC's portion of the weRacing for Charity event presented by Snail Racing here on GSRC. It was a great day of racing. Truly incredible to see your donations coming in. We want to thank you all very, very much from the bottom of our hearts for that. But before we leave you, we do want to thank all the companies listed on your screen for providing the software and hardware for our broadcast. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. You can see her name down there on the bottom of the screen, as well as how to get a hold of her for more of her great work. Special thanks to the team today, Joey, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it all at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media. We're on Twitter at GSRC Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, or Instagram at GSRC_. Graham. Our next race is coming at you in a little bit here. The Majors Team Endurance Championship from this track itself, Phillip Island, at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Our other series races are popping across your screen as we speak, so if you want to check out any of those, be sure to write those down and mark them in your calendars. But until next time, from all of the team here, I'm DJ Clark, reminding you to race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.